Hey there, Wondering Watchers. Welcome to this pick a card reading that reveals how your heartache over a failed relationship actually sets the foundation for you to become a desirable badass. And by badass, I mean whatever personal power that you connect with that lights you up, be it your inner goddess, inner diva, or inner stud muffin. It doesn't matter whether the relationship was recent or from the past or long-term or casual. If you've had any romantic connection that caused you to experience heartache, then this reading is for you. This is also a reading where you may want to pick multiple piles, especially if you have more than one significant heartache in your life. I know for me, I got married at age 42, and before even meeting my husband, I was in 3 separate 3-year relationships, a 2-year relationship, and a 7-year hookup situation that I was hoping would turn into something more, but didn't, of course. But enough about me. If you are new to pick a card readings, I'll quickly go over the process. For those of you ready to explore your badassery right now, the link to each reading is in the description box below. So I have in front of me 4 piles of cards. Pile number 1, we have Teddy Tarot. Pile number 2, we have Neo Tarot, a fresh approach to self-care, healing, and empowerment. Pile number 3, Star Seeker Tarot, and pile number 4, Cirque du Tarot. So go ahead and tune in on the cards and pick the pile that you feel drawn to the most. So keep in mind, if you're hoping to hear a specific message in one of the readings and you don't get that message, you can feel free to jump to another pile reading. Or if you don't get the message you were hoping for in any of the piles, then it may be that it's not for your best and highest good to hear that particular message at this time. So if you need to, feel free to pause the video to review the choices in front of you. Once you've made your decision, go to the description box and click on the link for the corresponding pile. So now it is time to tap into the cards, choose your heartache to badass adventure, and let's make magic happen. Welcome back. This is a reading for group number 1, those who picked Teddy Tarot, to find out how heartache makes you a desirable badass. So we are going to start out by looking at the relationship that sends your heart into a tailspin. So we're going to find out, first of all, what was truly good about the relationship for you and what was truly bad about the relationship for you. So here, what was truly good about the relationship, you have this Moon card. It was a way for you to kind of explore your desires, your untapped passions that kind of you always knew that you had. It was a way for you to kind of tap into not only the more feminine aspect of yourself, but maybe even secret desires that you hadn't talked to with other people about, and really kind of allowed yourself to be very exposed and vulnerable, not really knowing for sure how the other person would respond. So let's see what was truly bad about the relationship for you. You have the Tower. So it seems, group number one, that there may have been a lot of just, the word explosions kind of come up. So to some degree, maybe there were a lot of just disaster moments. It could be just timing. It could be like patterns. But it seems that things would be easily set off. Maybe one or both of you had issues with, dealing with anger or frustration. But it seems that the truly bad aspect of the relationship was that at the basis of the relationship, there wasn't a solid foundation to begin with. So let's take a look at the truth of why the relationship didn't work. You have Ace of Swords. So this is a card to indicate communication, truth, and power. So it seems that there were issues with communication. Maybe someone was, more dominant in the relationship. And ultimately, it didn't work because there was just obstacles that maybe one of you could get over quicker than the other could. And ultimately, there was not clear communications with a sense of connected from the heart. Connected from the heart. I want to say vulnerabilities again, but yeah, just allowing on both sides there to be vulnerabilities and an actual connection, a heartfelt connection. So to some degree, for some of you, the relationship didn't work because maybe on paper, it was something that seemed better than actually going through it, or it was just to have a relationship. But there was definitely an issue with who held the power. And so let's take a look at the truth of why the breakup caused you heartache. You have Six of Wands. So to some degree, you may have been wanting a relationship for a while. And so in your, community, your friends, your family, this was something that was an accomplishment for you. So it was more how you were being seen by those around you as opposed to the relationship itself. So you may have had, increased status, maybe more friends, like expanded friend group because of this connection, going out more. But so it was more your place in the community that was the true cause of the heartache, because to some degree there was a knowingness that this relationship was not going to work out. So let's take a look at what the heartache taught you about a strength of yours that you should celebrate. Okay, group number one, you have this High Priestess. So again, a strength of yours, tapping into that that feminine energy, intuition, recognizing certain secrets that you may have even hid from yourself. A sense of things not necessarily being black or white, but almost kind of recognizing that your options were a lot more than you would thought. For whatever reason, it's making me think of someone who is, inexperienced in, you know, inexperienced in dating and sexual encounters, and kind of this like opens the door to all sorts of possibility, possibly even polyamory, things like that. So let's take a look at what this heartache taught you about what you need to be your best self. Empress. So you absolutely need to recognize your inner goddess, your inner diva, your inner stud muffin. Recognize that you've got this like immense amount of like passion, inner beauty, love, sensuality that you need to acknowledge, to honor, to express. You need to pamper yourself however you feel that is for you, and embrace that inner empress, that inner high priestess. So let's take a look at what the heartache taught you about what you need in your partner for a thriving relationship. Ace of Cups. You need that passion. You need that connection. It can't be just someone, giving you a sense of status and power, or having charge over you and just making the decision of whether the relationship is or isn't. You need that emotional connection. You absolutely need that vulnerability on both sides, that giving of self completely. But you also need to ensure that you are honoring yourself and loving yourself fully and completely before even getting into that relationship. So let's now take a look at what your ex will regret missing out on about you. You have this stop card. So to an extent, this stop seems to be in relation to this tower aspect. So it could be that you were the one that really regulated, if they had like a temper, or if they couldn't handle things, you were the one to kind of gauge, hey, this is where we need to start arguing, or we need to we need to recognize that things aren't working out right here. We need to take a step back, something along those lines. So to a degree, they're going to miss you kind of putting your foot down to some degree. Caution. So yeah, it seems like you were almost could sense when things were going to go bad. You could sense when maybe the mood changed, and almost were, I get the sense that like if you were in that mode of tapping in on how they're feeling, you catered to how they were going to be. If you knew they were going to be a bad mood, or they knew they were going to be worked up, or whatever the situation, it's almost as if you were monitoring, altering the environment to make sure that they got exactly what they needed. And let's get one more. Comfort. So what they're going to miss about you is a sense that you really took care of them. You maybe even mothered them a little bit. But here the focus going forward is definitely put that care and intention on you. So here, let's take a look at qualities that will shine brightly after the heartache. Athena, you have this wisdom card here. So Athena is like this goddess of warrior and just smarts, intellectual smarts. To some degree, maybe you're the intellectual in the relationship. And to some degree, maybe you felt like you had to hold back on that because of their ego or whatever the situation is. But here, you're going to be embracing that wisdom, that ability to strategize and not be apologetic of your knowledge, of your abilities, of your I want to say foresight, your ability to really know what's going to happen and kind of always be right. Maybe they hate you always being right. My husband knows that I'm always right. It's a thing that we say. Whenever we go to eat, I sit to the right of him. Or if whenever we have a drink, there's 2 drinks on the table, mine is on the right because I'm always right. Some people don't like that. Here we have fresh start. So you are really taking this opportunity of a fresh start, and it seems like you are just getting rid of any junk. You're getting rid of whatever is not going to remind you that you are the most important thing in your life. You are really kind of tapping into maybe even more spiritual aspects and not going to apologize to anyone for what you need to fill you up. And then you have this forgiveness card here. So to some degree, you're the bigger person here. You are able to not forgive like it was okay, but you are in a place where you know the things that you want for your best and highest good and to align with those things. And you know that the forgiveness that you would give this person is not for them, but it's for you. It's for you to kind of recognize that you made choices along the way. It's giving you a sense of agency over the situation. You made choices and decisions that led to wherever things ended, to wherever you are now, wherever your future is going. And you are really a shinier version of yourself being able to do those things. So here, let's take a look at the ways that you are more wonderful, fascinating, and a desirable badass because of that heartache. You have heartbreak. So you have gone down this road. You have learned certain lessons. You know what to prepare for. Again, you know what you need to fill you up. You know what you need in a partner. And you have this experience. It'll hurt a little less if you go through it again. And that aspect of forgiveness, it gives you perspective of the other priorities that you have in your life and what you make room for and what you don't make room for, what you need to get rid of, what weighs you down. You really have that experience in your back pocket. You have this healing card. So yeah, it's almost like a badge of honor to really have this experience, it's almost making me think of people who go on first dates or second dates or third dates, and they talk about their exes and the ridiculous things that they did, they put up with. And, it's almost a sense of you have a lot of self-discovery that came through this process. And going forward, other people are going to connect with you about that. It's kind of like looking back on your childhood and being like, oh, I was, obsessed with Esprit clothes, and Esprit is it even in business anymore? Like, it's one of those things you can look back and just like laugh at. And so here, that's really going to make you like a more desirable badass. And then we have this spark card. When you have your honey cup here and you meet someone where there is that spark, and you being in this place of aligned with your inner priestess, your inner goddess, your co-creating with spirit, coming from a place of self-love, love for others, you are going to like connect with people that it's going to, if they are someone who's going to come with their cup, when that spark is going to hit, and it's going to hit hard. So we're going to close off here with a few cards just to see what can enhance your desirability even more, if that's possible. Okay, group number 1, you have Turtle Spirit. Slow and steady wins the race. So even though you've got this spark here, just kind of let it sizzle and simmer a little bit. Heat up that passion. And then you have Sandpiper Spirit, be playful. So those words of advice to make you even more desirable. So this is what I have for you, group number 1. I'm hoping it provides a helpful perspective on how your heartache makes you a desirable badass. And we'll see you next time. Take care. Welcome back. This is a reading for group number 2, those who picked Neo Tarot, to find out how heartache makes you a desirable badass. So we're going to start out by looking at the relationship that impacted your heart. So here you have the 9 of Cups. What was truly good about the relationship for you is that it allowed you to kind of tap into your capacity for connecting with people on an emotional level. And sometimes you can be overwhelmed with emotions, and this was emotions that you felt overwhelmed with, but in a positive way. It made you feel, kind of good about yourself, your life, the direction you're going with. It kind of made you feel that you could, accomplish whatever you wanted. So what was truly bad for you about the relationship? You have the 7 of Swords here. So this is typically like liar, stealer, cheater. It might be that sense, for some of you, but it also could be that the other person just didn't communicate certain things, kept things hidden for whatever reason. It could be their upbringing, certain things that they thought were, private, or maybe certain stressors that they had. Maybe they just wanted to deal with everything on their own. Something along that lines where the communication made you kind of just wonder what that person was doing or thought about you, or kind of in general, like, you know, what do they want for the future of the relationship and even possibly their own future. So you have here the Eight of Swords. The relationship didn't work because this amazing feeling that you had, because of the way that you two communicated, or things that were not communicated, it almost made it that you kind of allowed that to isolate you in terms of the things that you could, would want to say, or kind of wonder if you're the reason why, they are the way they are. It really kind of, to some degree, it could be that being in a relationship with you was difficult for them as well. And because it was a change that they were uncomfortable with and still kind of figuring out, they weren't sure what they should share with you as well. But it seems like to some degree that, your ex may have had, difficulties with communication, maybe some, difficulties with the way they thought about life, how they thought about themselves. And it was kind of seeping into your way of thinking as well. So here with the Eight of Cups, the truth of why the breakup caused your heart to ache was really that because you're someone that feels a lot, you don't like inspiring negative emotions, and that includes even having to leave something that's not working out. It's almost as if, you're someone that would definitely stay in a relationship too long, stay at a job too long, and maybe you'd rather think you can't leave, as opposed to actually making a change because of all the different emotions it would bring up for you and people around you. And really, you like things to be in like a stable, kind of a stable, not not like you have certain expectations, but manageable when it comes to, the different emotions. And you just kind of, it's almost like you have this understanding that you can make whatever you want a reality, and accepting that this relationship was something that, even if you wanted it to be, something long-term and committed, it wasn't best for you. So here you have the Death card. The strength that you should really celebrate is this transformation, this, this transformation that you're still going through, of becoming this desirable badass. And kind of understanding that you have to deal with the aspects of change all the time, and recognizing that, though losing something or disrupting the status quo, it's difficult. It allows you to become that desirable badass that you are and can be. And so it's really something that you should appreciate, is, you going through this, you understanding that that this process can be painful at times, can cause grief, but ultimately it is for you to become the best version of yourself, or it helps you to become the best version of yourself. So what you need to be the best version of yourself, you have this Page of Wands. You need to kind of push the limit on how much you think you can accomplish in life and feel good about yourself. It's almost like with this Nine of Cups here, it's a sense of kind of like I did good, or I'm doing good and things are good. But with this Page of Wands, it's a little bit of things are good, but how can we make things better? How can things just be, off the hook, just like a little bit rebellious, a little bit of I'm going to just do my own thing, and see what happens, play with fire just a little bit. So here to some degree, maybe in the relationship you felt restricted, but now you are definitely like, I'm not going to be restricted at all. This is something that you're going to figure out what you like, who you like, how you want to be, who you want to be today, tomorrow. So here, what you need for a thriving relationship, this World card, is a sense of personal accomplishment for yourself and for that person to also be willing and open to take a new journey with you, as opposed to kind of, compartmentalizing certain aspects of their life because they're not ready to, be your partner to communicate exactly, what's going on in their lives, what they hope for, what, why there might be limitations, how their upbringing contributed to that, all those things. You really understand that a sense of accomplishment for the individual person and celebrating that, and kind of being supportive of that. And regardless of what those accomplishments are, just kind of being like, I'm not going to, a parent criticized me. I'm not going to respond to that today. Great. Good. You're not going to, jump into that. Whatever in order to support someone, to celebrate them, to celebrate their, hitting certain milestones on their journey, you have to have an understanding about where they've been and where they possibly would like to go to, and the obstacles, and kind of like, so you can be each other's like cheerleader, support system, whatever is needed. It has to be where that is experienced and shared amongst you two. So that's something that you're definitely aware of. So let's take a look here at what your ex will regret missing out on you about. There's a sense of fear here. So to some degree, you really help them to deal with this baggage that they may have been, hiding. It's a sense of you filled that empty space whenever there was time alone, whenever there was quiet, then it opened up the potential for them to be, their insecurities to be exposed, their whatever it is. And you help to fill that empty space so that they didn't have to necessarily look at things themselves. Okay, well, I'm not going to, I guess I'll take all of them. Why not? They wanted to come. Okay. So they will also miss, You have this card, a reflection. So basically, they could kind of gauge by seeing how you were, how well they were doing. And so when their issues, their communication, their anxiety, their, self-doubt, when it would creep onto you, then they would know something was, something was off. But if you could maintain this great aspect of yourself, this positivity for the both of you, then it didn't matter that they weren't dealing with their stuff. You have ghosts. So, you really left a huge impression on them to some degree. They have to fill this space, and I noticed that the feared doorway and the ghosts kind of shaped the same. You kind of left it so they have to fill their space with their own experiences, their own, self-reflections, their own needing to deal with who they are, how they, became who they are, where they're going to go, and your happiness. They're going to really regret you not filling their cup with your cup, and really being a distraction for them to deal with what they need to deal with. So here, all right. So group number 2, not saying that this was an easy relationship for you to get over, but it seems here that you were in a really great position when you went into that relationship, and you're just, you're just glowing up after it. So let's see, to deal with that relationship or the breakup, there's certain energies and qualities that you had to tap into, and that helps you to become more of a badass. So you have this Parvati Spirit card. And this is kind of a sense of maybe for some of you tapping into things that are more spiritual, recognizing that there's something, greater than yourself that we're all connected to. But it's also a sense of the understanding that you can't just be everything for everyone. You need to definitely tap into what fills you up, and you can't be the life force, the life source for other people, because you definitely, again, you very much are feeling can, it's almost like you have this, you're prone to energy vampires. You're prone to people who are maybe victims, or who want to have that sense of emotional stability and security, even if you don't see it in yourself, even if you don't see yourself as some confident individual. Others see you that way, and they really, you really needed to kind of recognize that you need to tap into this spirit, your inner light, your inner diva, your inner goddess, badass, to make sure that you were taken care of. And in a sense, how to kind of build boundaries, healthy boundaries, where, you're going to be supportive of someone, but you're not going to be their life source. You have the Muses, inspiration. So definitely, you are really someone that kind of inspires other people. When you have this positive energy about you, it really does spill into other people's lives. And you kind of can kind of just like bring a sense of intention or a sense of emotions. Maybe some things that you say make people feel something, think something, and inspire them, creatively. Inspire them in terms of what maybe they even want for their own life. And that's something that like you definitely were using in this relationship. But like I said, you're kind of understanding that you have, you don't have just the ability to fill everyone else's cup without filling your own. And so being a little bit more, not that you're not generous, you may be overly generous, but recognizing that you can't just be everything to everyone. And that kind of makes it so, people want you in their lives even more. You have this Aditi creation. So you definitely are someone that's inspiring, with this heartache, this, this change, this transformation, this understanding that you need to, not constantly, you want to explore new things. You are possibly, the way that you dress, the places you go to, how you interact with people, the things that you watch or listen to. It's like you are bringing in all these or exploring all these new things where it's really helping you to create new things in your own life, kind of explore new aspects of appreciating yourself, expressing yourself, and people pick up on that and are, again, inspired by that, for their own lives. So let's see how all of this has made you more wonderful, fascinating, desirable. You have this support card. So you understand how you need support in a relationship. You understand how you supporting someone can really, you have that ability to really change someone's life, literally change their life for the better. But you also know that you need to, keep yourself in a good place, and that you have so much that you can explore too. To some degree, being in this relationship was, it was limiting you. It was limiting your potential, and maybe you felt you needed to allow that so that you could make that other person, feel recognized, feel better, allow them to shine. But, recognizing how much support you can give, where you can find it, and really how to have boundaries. That's something that, is really something that a lot of people cannot accomplish for themselves. So that's something that makes you like, very desirable, amazing. You have this trust card. So this is, again, trusting yourself, trusting people. There's a lot of issues that people have. They don't want to open up. They don't want to reveal. I'm not going to say that like that doesn't apply to me too. But here, you are someone that people will tell things to. So that might even be, why this was even more frustrating, is that you are supportive. You could handle things, and you know, you are now recognizing who you should lend that you know, aspect of that trust support to. And then you have this fear card. So to some degree, you know, there is a little bit of, you have fear here, and you have fear here. There is a little bit of fear in you that, you know, your next big love relationship is going to either have you again in the same situation, or maybe that you have these standards that maybe you're wondering if they're unrealistic, and you're not going to find someone that's amazing or fits the bill. But basically, you're still going through this transformation. There's still amazing aspects that you can still explore. This aspect of fear is, again, something that people are kind of they're going to be able to relate to you. It's hard to kind of go to someone that you think is outside of their league and expect that person to lift them up. So to some degree, this aspect of people coming and finding you, being prone to, you know, emotional vampires, is because there is a sense of fear. We all have fear about things, but tapping into this Page of Wands energy, and this world energy, and this, you know, death energy here, that you know, these positives that came out of your heartache, is going to allow you to kind of embrace that idea of like, okay, I'm going to go for this. I'm going to express myself. I'm going to, you know, explore adventure here. Things don't work out. It wasn't for my best and highest good. And if they, you know, turn out to be someone who asks me to kind of, or not asks, where they need me to limit myself in order to feel good about themselves, then no, I'm ready to go on a new journey. I'm ready to experience something different and something new. So here, we're going to take a look at, you know, what could possibly make you even more desirable. You have Squirrel Spirit, believe in yourself. Lion Spirit, be generous of spirit. So it's funny because I was saying how you really know how to kind of keep your life force, your energy, and to your kind of creating healthy boundaries. Here, this is kind of saying, be more confident in the fact that you have so much more to give. And it may be related to this aspect of fear again, but recognizing what kind of what you need, and recognizing that you are going to become this, or you are this, you know, loving, feeling person that really wants to protect other people. And you were able to do that. And to some degree, there might be a need for you to explore this aspect of what it is that you may still be holding on to, either from this relationship, or you know, from the past, and what it is that possibly you are when you have like unlimited potential and recognizing that if there is a certain limitation that you kind of are putting on it. So I'm hoping that this provides a helpful perspective on how your heartache makes you a desirable badass, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Welcome back. This is a reading for group number 3, those who picked Star Seeker Tarot. So we are going to find out, group number 3, how heartache makes you a desirable badass. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle these cards. And we're going to start out by looking at how the relationship that sends your heart into a tailspin kind of went down. So let's see. First, we're going to see what was truly good about the relationship for you. You have 4 of Wands. So it seems that it was a relationship that you wanted, you were excited about. You felt that it was a real, like, possibly even got into, living together. Like it was a committed relationship where it's as if this other person really served as part of the foundation of your home. So let's take a look at what was truly bad about the relationship for you. You have this Moon card. So to some degree, there is a sense that you were kind of still learning aspects about yourself, to trust yourself, perhaps certain doubts that you had. Maybe you just didn't know how to show, maybe you needed more clarity, more certainty in the relationship, and certain aspects about it may have really played on your emotions a bit. So let's take a look at the truth of why the relationship didn't work. You have this Hermit card. For some of you, it's a sense of, it just wasn't part of your destiny or theirs. For some of you, it could be that, for you, you withdrew a little bit, or the other person withdrew, possibly due to, this increase in like the emotions aspect. And it doesn't seem like there was necessarily a lot of turmoil in the relationship. It may be that, one person just decided to, go to, graduate school or pursue a career somewhere. But here, we're going to find out the truth of why the breakup caused you the heartache. So you have this 5 of Wands. So group number 3, to some degree, the heartache is due to kind of, you had this great foundation, and it was a place where you kind of knew that was always a starting and ending point for you, especially when there was uncertainty and especially when you had doubt. You had this relationship, but the heartache comes from okay, now what? What is it that I want? What is it that I'm supposed to do? Where is my foundation? Where do I go next? It's a sense of almost that you didn't have that clarity going into the relationship about your future. And so when it ended, you didn't have that clarity, and that was kind of almost scarier because that person wasn't there to kind of, be the the home base for you to kind of, check in, to have a sense of okay, this makes sense. So let's see what the heartache taught you about a strength that you should celebrate. You have Ace of Wands here. So group number 3, you have the ability to really kind of create whatever you want in your life. You have, if there's a passion for you to pursue something, you'll pursue it. And you will really be a source of inspiration for other people as well. This may have caused you to kind of figure out what it is you're passionate about, what it is your priorities are, what it is that you want to accomplish. And, recognizing that it may have given you a sense of instability and, chaos, but you were able to, get your groove back and have a sense of starting over. Like, it's okay to start over. Maybe you moved, maybe you got a new job. Some way it's almost as if you wanted a clean slate. And so let's take a look at what you need to be your best self. You have Knight of Cups here. So this sense of like coming from a place of love, creativity. It seems group number 3, you are someone who is very like creative, artistic, imaginative, and you really do want to carry your heart on your sleeve, and you almost want that in return. Kind of to both, at least for you to be your best self, you need to know that it's okay for you to explore your emotions, to show your emotions. It might not always be pretty, it can be messy, but they're always, a true reflection of you. So here, let's see what the heartache taught you about what you need in a partner for a thriving relationship. You have 7 of Swords, and that typically is like the liar, stealer, cheater card. I think it's more about a couple things. Number 1, not allowing you to hide. It could be that you were the hermit in this relationship to some degree, but not allowing to use that relationship or any relationship to hide in terms of, doing something for yourself for the future. You also know that in your partner, you need someone who is willing to help you kind of stay out of your own way, in a sense, of, if there are issues with anxiety or doubt, to really help you kind of spot those things and to, point out or be aware of when things are getting a little intense, and possibly try to, ease the tension for you to a certain degree. So let's take a look at what your ex will regret missing out on about you. You have this growth card. So it does seem that your ex, like, again, it doesn't seem like there's any like ill will. And it does seem like it was a happy relationship for the most part. So seeing you grow into this, desirable, badass version of yourself, and kind of, learning your potential and pursuing it is something your ex will regret missing out on. Your love. They will also miss out on how much you cared about them, how much you supported them, how much you brought in to that home in terms of, caring and understanding, and, caring even your emotions, even if you doubted your emotions, those emotions, your intentions when it came to the other person was to shower them with love. And this card of consciousness. So what your ex will regret missing out on is your ability to really be aware of things in the environment that other people might not pay attention to. Maybe the vibe of the room, micro mannerisms, signs, synchronicities, and things, random coincidences. Being aware of things on a different level. They thought that was pretty neat about you. So here, let's take a look at some aspects, qualities that will shine brightly after the heartache. You have Spider Woman, universal connection. So here, it's a sense that, possibly this aspect with your emotions, your anxiety, you may be an empath, you may be someone who is deeply and emotionally connected to people. It could be maybe why you needed to withdraw sometimes. That emotions could be a little bit too much, a little bit too overwhelming. And maybe you were either, aware of it at the time during the relationship and didn't want to address it, or you were unaware of it and you just were overwhelmed with feelings sometimes. You have this fertility card. So here it's a sense of not that, you're all of a sudden just going to have, a bunch of kids, but this fertility is this aspect of growth here and love kind of combining. It's almost like the Empress card, and that you are paying more attention to yourself, how you feel, how you sense your environment, your health, your sense of touch and smell and sight, all those things, you're tapping into that. And that's really driving you into that being in a place of using it to kind of hone in on imagination, creativity, with this Ace of Wands, kind of like whatever you want to create, whatever it is that you want to do, you are able to do that a lot more now that you've experienced that heartache. And then you have this Terra protection. So Terra is, I believe it, goddess of the Mother Earth. So it's in line with this concept of the growth, the love, the fertility, a sense of you are protected, you are in a place where you are physically being in touch with your environment and kind of taking in the power from the earth, and then like spiritually and in terms of a connected consciousness, it's like you are really tapping into these aspects of yourself of being like a healer, a witch, someone who is like a spiritual guru, someone who like is a fantastic like artist, someone who like does pottery or blows glass, just I'm kind of seeing like things that are just vibrant and things that are like part of the earth being put into like artistic kind of patterns, shapes. So here we're going to take a look at how you're more wonderful, fascinating, and a desirable badass because of this heartache. Self-love. You are definitely aware that you need to fill your own cup. You need to make sure that you are in your best physical, mental, spiritual, emotional shape. Security. Again, this concept of protection. So you are a much more confident person than you were in that relationship. And you also know why or how you are fragile. And that might be something that you were just learning during that relationship. And you have this card of healing. So you are still kind of going through this process, learning from it, healing from it, growing even more, and like the essence of your badassery is still yet to be defined. So here, let's take a look at what can enhance your desirability even more. You have this rhino spirit, overcome any obstacle. So you are growing a thicker skin. When it comes to kind of being, this universal connection, tapping into other people's emotions and feelings and senses, it's as if you are learning to the security, this protection, learning how to kind of create boundaries, but also self-protection measures so that you're not overwhelmed by those aspects. And then you have lion spirit, be generous of spirit. So you are appreciating things a lot more. You are really coming from the heart. You are really accomplishing a lot, and you're still being modest. But I do think with the Seven of Swords, the Seven of Swords aspect of not hiding from things, maybe you feel like you still need to hide because of that extra, connection to the environment around you and being able to kind of like sense all those things. But here, with this, concept of this rhino spirit and this lion spirit, you are a lot stronger and more badass than you probably give yourself credit for. So I'm hoping that this reading gives you a helpful perspective of how your heartache makes you a desirable badass. And we will see you next time. Take care. Welcome back. This is a reading for group number 4, those who pick Cirque du Tarot. So we are going to take a look at how heartache makes you a desirable badass by first exploring the relationship that affected your heart. So what was truly good about the relationship for you, this Ace of Wands, is that it was something that you really wanted. You put your effort into, you were passionate about, you really wanted to kind of feel the intensity in the relationship. You absolutely did. You may have had a strong physical attraction, really good chemistry together. And so this was something that was like the ultimate, the ultimate way of you to feel alive is kind of, I guess, the phrase that came to mind. So what was truly bad about the relationship for you, you have the Four of Pentacles. It seems that it became something where you made everything about that relationship. You put all your energy into that relationship, and it became something that, maybe not from your perspective, maybe from their perspective, was something that came a life of its own. Basically when two people come together and create a relationship, that relationship is like a third aspect that you have to nurture and invest in, and respect. But it's almost as if it came a point of, where is it that you two together are actually, creating a future, meeting your own goals, as opposed to just focusing on maintaining a relationship as almost your sole identity. So let's take a look at why the relationship didn't work. So you have the Tower here, and it could be that because of this passion that you had here, on both ends, that there were a lot of, disruptions, a lot of blow-ups, and kind of, disaster type kind of events that might have just been arguments, disagreements, and realizing that the relationship can't sustain, everything in life. It can't be the basis for every, emotion. It can't fulfill every goal or desire. And ultimately, there may be a foundation of passion and excitement and adventure. Maybe you went on a lot of trips, traveled, but in terms of, being the best part of yourselves individually, and then coming together and having that as something that fills up your respective cups, so that when you come together, you have outside aspects of life to kind of share, to flow between you two. It was a sense of the relationship was the only foundation, to the point where it couldn't really hold anymore. So let's take a look at the truth of why this ending of the relationship caused your heart to ache. You have the Empress here. And, it's part of that aspect, that passion that you have to really feel alive, to feel connected. To some degree, this relationship was where you were putting a lot of your focus and attention, and you kind of needed to put it on yourself. And it's like you have all these great energies of, creating, nurturing, being connected, having a sense of abundance, and you put it all into the relationship, and it's kind of like you had this, almost like this overload of emotion connected to, that love. So, I mean, it was not saying that the relationship wasn't, something you sincerely cared about. You absolutely did. But in terms of focusing that abundance, that love, that care, like inward for your own, like personal development and your own future, that's something that you, during the relationship, you didn't really maximize. And so when the relationship ended, it's kind of like you had this abundance of love and everything that you'd been pouring into the relationship that you just weren't immediately aware of how to redirect it to yourself and your future. So through this breakup, there's a strength that you should celebrate, and you have the Queen of Wands here. So it's an understanding that you do have a direct relationship with your environment, with this Empress energy. You kind of feed off your environment, and it drives you, this passion. It really does drive you to kind of create, to really raise the vibration of everyone around you. So you have, it's like you have been able to tap into this Empress energy for yourself, and really seeing how, if you focus and direct your energy and intention to something, you can make that amazing. So let's take a look at what this heartache taught you about what you need to be your best self. You have 3 of Cups. So taking some time to celebrate your relationships with family, with friends, with, colleagues, basically recognizing and putting that love and attention, that abundance in other relationships besides just a romantic one. That's kind of allows you to really spread that, creative, nurturing, loving abundance that you have, and kind of have your environment set up for you in a way where any personal goals that you attain or want to attain, that you are, prepared for that, and that you have this, support system, you have this cheering section, all on standby. So here, let's take a look at what you need in a partner for a thriving relationship. You have a Queen of Cups. So you need to have that emotional connection, and it's not enough for you to have just passion with the other person. You each need to have a sense of connection to yourself, to fill your own cup, to recognize that it's almost like set the intention of the emotions that you want to connect with that other person. And that includes really them being, nurturing and supportive as well, and kind of connecting on that more emotional level, where there is understanding of how each person individually wants to grow and what they want to accomplish. And so being supportive of them in those things as well. But when the only thing that you are focusing on is the, relationship, and kind of cutting out other people, other activities, and making that the main focus of it, then the emotion almost kind of is drained, and it just becomes a routine. So here, let's take a look at what your ex will regret missing out on you, about you. So it says anger here. So to some degree, like, this kind of indicates more of the passion that you both had. And perhaps, whenever there was a sense of built up energy and kind of intensity for that other person, you were able to kind of redirect it to you in a way of like, what's the word? Like intimacy, sexuality. It seems here that there is a very intense passion and attraction that's going on there. So to some degree, you were able to kind of help that person express their frustrations, their anger in a very, positive way. Love, they will regret missing out on the love, this Empress energy that you invested in the relationship. It's not that they will never find love. It was that the love that you shared, it's special to them. Maybe it was, the first time that they said they loved you to someone and actually meant it, or the first time ever, that type of thing. And here is trust. So they really did trust you, opened up to you. It's almost a sense of, to some degree, they saw you like family, which kind of strange considering the intensity of passion that you had. But like I said, it may have been intense at the beginning, but at some point it started to feel like just, part of the routine. And so it may be that the feelings kind of turned more into a family type situation, like a not just a friendship, but just someone that they loved and trust, but almost, maybe like a parent, or a sibling, something like that. So let's take a look at, after the heartache, you had to tap into certain energies and qualities that led you to become this badass. So you have this caution card. To some degree, this initial spark, you are aware of how that can lead you into something pretty deeply, especially with this, Queen of Wands energy. You can really attract a lot of people, and a lot of initial passion, intensity will kind of will come about. But you are aware that you have this ability to kind of set the tone for an initial interaction. And so with that, power comes responsibility. And it's as if you are kind of now using that more responsibility of like, okay, this is a great, make out session, hook up, whatever. But where's this going? Is it going to be more of a mutual coming together? Queens are associated with the element of water, and so are cups. So this is kind of like, double emotion. And that's kind of, you need that emotion on both sides to kind of meet up. So you have this family card again. So it may be that family is important to you. It may be that you recognize that whatever it is you have between you and someone else in terms of a romantic relationship, you need to incorporate your friends, your family into that relationship to see if the emotions, if that matches up, if the support that you're going to give that person is matched, in that, even supporting each other to hang out with their own friends. And you have this flirt. So you have really honed in on this Empress and Queen of Wands energy, and really it's like you've always had that ability to draw someone in, but it's like you are going to be able to have more fun with it now. Like, even, recognizing flirtation doesn't need to always be about sexuality. It's also about just lifting someone up, making them feel good about themselves. Like, saying to a friend, who is preparing for the evening, and saying, you look good. You're gonna kill it tonight, kind of like check you out. That's a compliment, but you can say it in a way that is like, ooh, check you out. Or, yeah, you look pretty studly tonight. Something along those lines. Okay, so let's take a look at more things that make you badass and desirable. You've got luck. So you knew that you had the ability to draw people in, and you pretty much can command attention. You can impress people, kind of get what you want, even with your eyes, blindfolded. Abundance. You are really tapping into this abundance. You are kind of recognizing that, sky's the limits for you, and you kind of want someone who is willing to go there, to kind of push the envelope even for themselves, and recognize that, this adventure, this passion that you have, it's like directing it into, personal goals, travel, even possibly creating your own, like, jewelry line, clothing line, something along those lines. And you have this desire card. So you are really, group number 4, you're really smoking hot, beautiful inside and out, and super desirable. So this past heartache is something that really set you in the right direction for you to embrace the best aspects of yourself. So let's see what can enhance your desirability even more. Starfish spirit, open to infinite possibility. So again, this concept of abundance, pushing the envelope, kind of going like, it's almost like having no expectations, because you don't want to set certain limits. Have goals and kind of seeing how those play out. But in terms of expecting how things will be, how things will feel when you get to a certain moment, that's something that you are allowing just to happen. And this vulture spirit, nothing is wasted. So here, this kind of, understanding that this past relationship really brought something. Maybe you are still friends with this individual. Maybe you are, still connected to their family and friends. But it seems here that you kind of see the silver lining in everything for yourself and for other people. And that really makes you, even more desirable to have as a confidant, a partner, someone who is, supportive. And it doesn't hurt that you are super, super desirable, super smoking hot, and have this amazing like inner beauty as well. So I'm hoping that this provides a helpful perspective of how heartache makes you a desirable badass, and we'll see you next time. Take care.